What's going on? GoldenGateSports.com, and whether you're on the app or online, I want to thank you all for making me a part of your day. So, if you missed the last episode, in the beginning of the episode, I kind of just, did a little house cleaning here or there, but let me just sum it up again one more time. Is every Friday now is when articles are going to be brought up, and they're actually going to be a topic on the show. So, it's going to be called Article of the Week. And so in that time frame, I'll tell you exactly what I talked about, what you should expect in the article, and things like that in that on Friday's episode. So expect that to come on in the future. A side note here, for future references, or not references, but for future preference for all you guys to know that on giveaways in the future during the off season, I have some pretty good ones coming out. I have a Jimmer jersey coming out probably at the end of the season. Not stitched. It's not a stitched jersey, but it's a nice clean printed jersey. I think I believe it's a large XL, maybe even. So yeah, that Jimmer jersey will be given out. I have a Jason Williams autograph jersey as well that I'll be giving away a little later on down the line, probably during the off season, to make the show a little bit more interesting, because of course, midway through the offseason, talking Kings basketball when the offseason is still going on. There's no basketball talk really happening at that time during the offseason. It's good to just mix things all around. So stay tuned and subscribe for that. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter and get all your Kings news on fancenter.com, GoldenGateSports.com. Now, with all that being said, let's just jump right into today's thing. Today's actually going to be a little bit of a laid-back episode. It's coming up a little bit late. I had some things happen today, so I'm actually doing this episode a little late. It's going to be up a little bit later. So this is just going to be a answer the viewer questions the entire time, and then Friday's episode, again, we'll do answer your questions, give you guys some shout-outs, give my overview of the week. Yeah, just the overview of the games of the week and what to expect over the weekend, and then, of course, the article of the week, which is going to be what to expect for the rest of the season and what you should look forward to as Kings fans while you're rooting on your team, when really, for most fans, there's nothing really to root for if there's no playoffs. But I'll give you something to, look for and expect and want to see out of the team for the last, few games of the season. So that's what to expect on Friday's episode and moving forward. So let's just jump right into the questions here, because that's what this laid-back episode is going to be all about, is just answering the questions that you guys sent in to me. And if you have a question that you want to get on the show, you can email your questions in to kingscourtpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's kingscourtpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can tweet in your questions. My Twitter handle is @VMCenter, which you should be able to see in the little handle piece right about here, or down here a little bit lower. But you should be able to see that there where it says kingscourtpodcast@gmail. Or also, you can tweet your questions to me. My Twitter handle is @VMCenter. And you can also see me on the Kings app, where my handle on there as well is VMCenter. So here we go. Let's just jump right into the questions here, the ones that you guys have submitted in for the day. And the first question comes from, loading, here it goes. It's from KS Darden. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. If the team ends with the same record as last season, did we see any improvements? Why or why not? This is a great question. I've kind of touched on it since probably like 3 weeks after the All-Star break. I kind of answered this question. And I'll be touching on this again on Friday's episode as well. But yes, the team did improve. And although the record doesn't say otherwise, let's look at it this way. The team just went through a new coach. Completely new change. The starting lineup is not the same starting lineup that we started once the season began. It's changed, I believe, 6 times now. The starting lineup has changed. Cousins has been injured in and out of the lineup. Not as many times as you can actually use that as an excuse, but he was gone. So those are losses that you have to tally up together. Rudy Gay came in a little bit later on in the season, that was a big trade where you lost a lot of trading assets, which makes the offseason very, very interesting. I mean, you give up guys like Grievous Vasquez, who you got during the previous offseason before the 2013 season that's happening on right now. That's going on right now. John Salmons was your starting small forward. Ben McLemore was your starter. Then Marcus Thornton. Now back to Ben McLemore. So it's just a lot. It's just a transition year, and it's not just a transition year for the Kings, but really for the entire NBA. This is gonna be a big off season. For the entire NBA, a lot of big names are hitting the free agent market, and it's gonna be interesting to see where some of these players go. And even with the Kings, I mean, think about it. Rudy Gay could not be a King next year. So there's a lot of ifs about the team right now, but if it was an improvement, because if the team ended with the same or less wins, you have to see the improvements that they made. Michael Malone, unlike Keith Smart last season, has still kept this team together through the struggle. This team has struggled very badly this year. The defense is starting to look up, but their turnovers are going straight down. Once they start building on one thing, they forget something else, and that's something they're going to need to touch on during this offseason. But to answer your question, yes, they have improved. Why? Just because they're still building, they're still bonding. Keith Smart, Coach Michael Malone has really kept this team together through the struggle, unlike Keith Smart. And it's still a rebuilding process. It's a rebuilding year again for Sacramento. New coach, new mindset, new game schemes. Everything is all brand new, and you could say, wow, it's 82 games, and you're still going to say that, but through these 82 games, a lot of changes had to have been made. So we'll see what happens next year. My personal opinion, yes, there is improvement, and you can say that this team is definitely better than what it was in the beginning of the season and last year, but they're just not happening with wins right now. So, that's just my personal opinion. You can have a different thought on it. If you do, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what all you guys think. So, there's that. So, thank you for your question, and thank you for your support and watching the video. So, next question goes to OneKing909. It says, what kind of improvements have we made since the All-Star break? The defense actually has improved. The problem with the Kings right now, since the All-Star break, is the fact that their ball movement has become very stagnant. It's become a lot of one-on-one play. The ball just keeps getting turned over because the spacing on the floor is just terrible. They're giving up a lot of offensive rebounds lately, I've seen. And, this is going to sound like I'm nipping at the team, kind of nitpicking at the team, but each player needs to know their role. Rudy Gay is the closer. I kind of think they're starting to figure that out, with Isaiah Thomas kind of being that second guy as that closer, maybe even tied with Rudy Gay for the 1 and 2. But DeMarcus Cousins is your go-to guy, and they need to figure that out, and they haven't really done that this season. It seems as if, although the big three they're all getting their points. They're getting their points evenly, so it's not like anyone's being a complete ball hog, I guess. But it's still difficult to say that they're a great three together, because all three of them need to score, which makes the rest of the team a bit, they kind of rely on those three. And when those three aren't hitting, I mean, look what happens. It ends up in a loss. So the improvements is the defense. The problems lately have just been the ball movement. They're really relying on that quote-unquote big three that they're using with Isaiah Thomas, Rudy Gay, and DeMarcus Cousins, and it's not really become a team game as of late. As in the beginning of the season, as everyone was touching the ball, it was kind of getting everyone involved, getting everyone a touch, or mainly focusing on DeMarcus Cousins in the post, which it should be. So the improvement is the defensive end, because they're getting more hands on the ball. They're more vocal. You can actually see that on the court. You can see them talking. It's just their offense is now struggling, and this kind of happens with the team. It happened with that team, the team last year, that the defense started picking up late in the season, but the offense started to become very, very stagnant. and this was the beginning of the season. Late in the year, they kind of just forgot about defense and only ran offense. But so for the team, the defense has stepped up, but they just don't know how to space out. They're not moving the ball very well, and the team is really relying on 3 players, and that makes it kind of hard for anybody to get anybody off the bench or get anything going. So that makes it very difficult. So thank you for your question. If you feel anything different, like I said before, go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section below and let me know what you think the Kings have improved on or have actually not improved on, actually have, digressed in a certain area. So let me know what you think. So thank you for your question. Owen Yonka said, how is Jason Terry going to help us next year? Jason Terry, I don't actually see him being on the roster next year. I see him asking to be either bought out or being traded. What he could bring. Let's say he stays. Let's say that I'm wrong and he stays. And, he stays on the roster for the entire season for the Kings. It brings them something that the Kings really do need, and that is a veteran leader who knows how to win. He's won a championship with the only team that has beaten the Miami Heat since the Big Three has come together. The Dallas Mavericks. He won that championship. And Jason Terry brings that swag and that veteran leadership, especially off the bench as a 6-man role, to provide a spark and, be a mentor to this very young Kings roster. And another thing I really think it helps with is possibly Ben McLemore's game. Their games are not similar at all, but the fact that Jason Terry knows, he knows how to shoot. And that's what Ben McLemore knows how to do. He knows how to shoot the ball. They're just not dropping. And it kind of seems like it's starting to get to him now. But maybe Jason Terry's better leadership kind of helped that out, varied out. So let's say he stays, which I don't think he will, but let's say he does. He brings veteran leadership that the Kings really need, especially a veteran leader who has won a championship, recently. In the past 10 years, and he's won that championship. So it's going to be very interesting to see if he stays. I just highly see it unlikely because Jason Terry's at the point of the career where he just wants another ring. It's not like he's looking to be on a rebuilding team. He wants to win. He wants to be, part of a contender, and just being with Sacramento, it's just not it for him, especially in the twilight of his career. But thank you for your question. All right, we've come down to the last and final question from John Leroix. I hope I pronounced your last name right, John. It says, do we need a point guard with more court awareness? Or do you think Isaiah Thomas will finally get this? I'm going to say, you're trying to say will adapt to court awareness in time. Isaiah Thomas, and thank you for your question, John. Isaiah Thomas is actually is passing the ball very well of late. He's getting the same amount of assists as I believe Kyle Lowry and players of that sort. 6, 7, 8 assists per game. In that area, it just varies between each game, but he's getting a decent sized number of assists. The thing that a lot of people don't like about Isaiah Thomas is that he does score, and he is a score-first point guard, which does, I guess you can say, put the blinders on at times where if you guys don't know what the blinders means, he gets tunnel vision, if you guys understand that, where all he's focusing on is scoring his points, where he thinks he has to take over the game. And you know what? That is a problem that he has. That is a very deep problem that he has. He's talked about it. He knows. Isaiah Thomas knows that it's his problem. He knows that it's the problem that he likes to try and take over games. He's said it in many interviews, and that he feels when he makes passes at times, it forces turnovers, because he tries to overmake the play, which does become a complication. So will he, become have a better mindset skill of court awareness, pick up that skill a bit more? Because I believe he actually has pretty good court awareness, especially since he's racking up the assists. I mean, he did get a triple-double just recently, so it's not like he's not passing the basketball. He's just not passing it at a very high rate, which could be a problem for some people. And I understand that. Some people, like Isaiah Thomas, some people don't. But he is a score-first point guard. For those who think he's not, they need to get it straight. He is a score-first point guard. He knows that, and everyone who watches the game needs to know that as well. Even if you're not, even if you're an Isaiah fan, you need to know that he is a score-first point guard. And passing is one of his biggest flaws that he needs to pick up on. But with that all being said, John, to answer your question, could he pick up court awareness? Yes, he can. He could pick that up. I believe he could. The only thing I'll say about Isaiah Thomas is this, and I've said it before, and just in case you guys haven't heard, I'll kind of do just a brief thing, is Isaiah Thomas is in a contract year. He is a restricted free agent at the end of this season, and he has played his way into money. So even if the Kings decide they're going to let him test his, his market out in the free agency, or test his value out in the free agent market, he's going to get money. He's played his way. He's had a great season, and he's played his way into a lot of money. And if Rudy Gay decides to stay, that's $19 million gone. DeMarcus Cousins starts his max contract next year. That's a lot of money gone. You still got players like Jason Thompson making almost $8 million that next season. So it's gonna be kind of interesting to see what they do. That's why I always say that it'd be best for the Kings to figure out what Rudy Gay is gonna do during the trade deadline, during the draft, because that would make it more interesting to see who they draft. Now, I'm not saying the Kings, if Jabari Parker is there at number 6 and the Kings decide that they already have, Rudy Gay, you take the best player available. Of course, you take the best player available in this draft. But as needed, let's say Isaiah Thomas gets this money and he knows he will, and they know Rudy Gay is going to stay, why not go out a Marcus Smart, a Dante Exum, Tyler Ennis, players like that who have a high potential upside from a lot of these, draft, college professional scouts. So, all of that, the scouting them, yes, it's nice to have it, and it's potential that they all do have, but let's not read too much into it, because the NBA and college is a very big game. Ask Jimmer Fredette. So, could he pick up the court awareness, John? Yes, he can. Will he be on the team next year is a very big question. And it's possible he will be. He's a restricted free agent. The Kings have the decision whether or not they want to pick up his option, basically, or sign whatever deal he signs to match it. But, yeah, I think he can do it. I think Isaiah Thomas is a very good point guard for the Kings. He has the heart and the want to win. And, it's nice to have that on your team. I've always said it. I still think he'd be a great six-man player, but he wants to be a starter. And we'll just see where it goes from here. Alright, everybody. That's the video. That's the episode for today. I want to thank you guys all for sending in your questions, tuning in. If you guys don't agree with anything I'm saying, let me know. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I read them. I love them. It's awesome. Hit the like or dislike button. Let me know what you guys all think of these videos. Follow me on Twitter at VMCenter. Get your questions in, kingscourtpodcast@gmail.com. Remember that to get all your Kings news from fansided.com and GoldenGateSports.com. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more episodes just like these. Friday's episodes coming on, giveaways coming up in the future, and things just like that, and more to come. We're improving daily, and hopefully during the off season, I'll have enough subscribers to possibly bring in guests. So who knows? So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, share